everybody. My name is Anita, and you're watching me on my channel Slate with Anita on YouTube. This is a Saturday, and you're watching me in conversation with some interesting people who I believe walk the talk. And yes, right now in the series is Mastering It with Monica. Monica Timmaji, who runs along with her husband her own NLP coaching and training firm called Nearway Academy, based out of Bangalore, and a company which has completed more than 100 programs of NLP. And the fact that Monica herself has done a lot of great work with children and parents, which is why I have brought her on board to talk about exactly that. If you have caught the last two videos in this series, then you'll know that they have been about children and how do we build a little bit of learning and personal excellence in them. So if that was about children, how can we leave parents far behind? So today I have invited her once again to talk about parents and how can NLP help in this whole enigmatic journey called parenting, right? So on that note, if you are a parent, you must watch this. If you are going to be a parent, definitely watch it to spread the word. And without further ado, I'll call upon Monica. Hi, Monica.
Hi, Anita. Thanks for calling. Yeah, it's a privilege to be on your channel.
A privilege to have you here. So yes, parents. Like one word that seems to evoke a lot of emotions in parents across the world. A journey which is an emotional roller coaster is how many parents have described it to me. So how do you think something like an NLP can help that enigmatic journey even more richer, maybe a bit easier, maybe a bit simpler? Your thoughts on that?
I think just the fact that NLP is all about understanding ourselves and how our mind works and how we respond. I think in any area of our life, it's something that we can use very powerfully.
Yes.
Whether it is parenting, whether it is work, relationships, emotions. So that's the beauty of NLP, that it's so universal and it can be used in. It's actually just about us, as human beings.
Yes.
And how we can tap our potential.
Yes.
So even with parenting, I think it can be like really, really powerful. Some of the sharings of how people who've come for our programs have shared.
Okay.
So I haven't really done as much work with parents as I've done with children. But since when you work with children, you invariably do work in some indirect way with parents and understand them more.
Yes.
And those who come for our programs also invariably their parents.
Correct.
Yeah, so that is how
What have been some experiences that have stood out for you? Parenting itself goes through in stages, like right from when they are expecting to when the empty nest syndrome, as it has become famous. So what are some interesting experiences along the way?
So the thing is, when if you're saying from different stages, parenting also, I think parents go through different stages along with the developmental stage of the child, right? Their own children.
Yeah.
So children would grow physically, emotionally, their communication, their social, their cognitive skills, and as they're growing with different age, even parenting probably needs evolving. With that, right? Because they need skills, they have different ways of dealing with things. The same thing that worked a year back may not work, or even few months back probably is not the same way, right? So we find that one thing how NLP can help is that it can help one be flexible.
Okay.
Which I think when that aspect is brought into parenting, it helps parents to respond as the child is growing. And also to pick up what's happening.
Okay. Tell me more. Flexibility in terms of.
Okay. A little bit.
Can you share an instance or an experience with a parent, a student who's a parent?
Like flexible. Okay, just like there was this one parent. She was talking about her daughter and her thing. So now the daughter is a young adult. And young adult, and she's finding her own footing and she wants to do things her way and slightly different from how the parents think. So the parent is not very used to at all, because till now this child would listen to exactly what the mom would say. Never do something this side or that.
Yes.
Okay, so now what's happening is the parent was finding it challenging a little bit because she was used to that fixed way.
Mm.
I tell my daughter this, and no matter what, my daughter is going to listen. And for the
Correct.
last 20 years, the child has been doing that, and now after 20 years, it's a change.
Yes.
So it's a very huge change for the parent.
Yes.
Okay, for the parent to even realize, okay, now she's a young adult, she's a separate, like uh, separate identity, separate being.
Her own person.
Yeah, and has her own ways of thinking and is developing that.
Yeah.
And to allow that, so the thing is, I think the first thing for this parent was to just identify, when we were having a conversation, that there was a fixed way in the last 20 years that it worked. I say something and my child will just say yes and agree, because the child has always been obedient.
Right.
Okay, and so so that was her pattern, and now what she needed is to be flexible, like change because there's a change, right? There's a shift in the child. And now when the mother is saying you must do this and this is how you should do, you shouldn't go out with boys, things like that, the response is not coming from the child.
Right.
Okay, and so mother not changing, and then the child being in this way was creating a lot of chaos at home.
Right. Child is changing a lot and the parent is not willing to change at all.
Yeah, parent is the same way, and this is the way, and this is the only way. Okay, so that's why we say, in NLP we say one way is stuck. 2 ways is dilemma, and 3 ways is or more is like choice, freedom, and flexibility.
Right.
So that's how it helps. So after certain conversations, the parent did realize that what was her usual pattern. If she continues that way, what would be the consequence? Or and that is not what she wanted. She didn't want chaos, and she didn't want the relationship to not be so nice as it was. Okay, so that just knowing that what she wanted, it started helping her to get more flexible and saying, okay, now what I'm going to do is I don't want to suppress my my feelings and my expression, or what I think is really good for my child, because I feel it's like protecting her. I would want to be able to express and talk to her about it. At the same time, I'm willing to listen and understand there's another world.
Right.
Okay, so that shift itself has created some changes for them now.
Okay,
as of now, they actually communicate and both can listen to different worlds. And the doctor can actually say, yes, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, this is what I want.
Right. So, in some manner of speaking, it seems like, when somebody tries to go on a crash diet, so you shock the system, right? So this seems to me like a similar scenario, and that's why 2 things come to my mind. One is, so what could the parent do differently? Like, let's say today, who's going to be a parent, or who's a parent to a young child? What could the parent do differently so that 20 years down the line, it's not like I'm having to deal with something drastic? Because
I think just developing certain NLP skills, like what we say is, what we've heard a lot of parents share, just the fact that even from the time they were expecting, we've had some ladies participate when they're pregnant too.
Wow. Okay.
And they have shared, like, after the program, just the fact that they would give a lot of positive thoughts about the whole process that they were going through, and they would talk to the baby, even when they're carrying, and it just helped them to cope with the whole situation, and just getting used to their own body.
Okay.
Before the program or before knowing NLP, they would probably their body is going through different changes, right?
Right.
So they would feel a little frustrated, feeling this, and then they would not be okay that they're feeling frustrated or they're feeling tired or things like that.
Right.
Okay, so just after getting a little more aware of themselves, and and just dealing with their own emotions. That is being okay with, okay, I'm going through this, feeling this emotion, and then getting like, okay, what emotion do I want to feel? How do I want to feel?
Right.
Yeah, just accepting, okay, we are here, this is what is happening. Okay, is this where I want to be, or do I want to move out of it?
Correct. Do I want to continue feeling frustrated, or?
Yeah, so now if I want to feel a little more, okay, maybe from frustrated, jumping to being very excited is huge change.
Yes.
Just a small shift in emotion.
Right.
From frustrated saying, okay, I'm a little peeved. Just through language, just saying I'm frustrated.
Yeah. Strong.
Creates a different experience.
Yeah.
And if I just change through my language, saying I'm a little peeved, I'm a little not okay. Okay, and just through the language, when they started changing, they're feeling differently.
Right.
So this is how we learn how to change their emotions. So it's in different stages, right?
Okay.
Simple things like that. Then, when parents have gotten little babies, some of them shared, like especially one of our team members, they're both NLP trained.
Okay.
So they keep sharing now with their journey with their little son as he's growing.
Right.
They keep sharing that a lot of things, the way they deal is very different from when they see their friends who are not exposed to NLP.
Okay.
Simple things like the mother says that she's able to pick up what her son is telling, understanding, what her child is saying, what her child expects, is able to calibrate. We say something calibrate.
Correct.
But even if this child doesn't express in words, just through the way the child is crying or the way the child is, looking, their skin tone, their tonality, they're able to pick up the emotions.
Right. So many components. Like if I have to kind of at this point of time share with my viewers a brief summary, then with regards to communicating with say oneself. Or even if it is with a young adult or a child, firstly the language pattern, it's neuro-linguistic programming after all, NLP. So the language that we probably use can create a huge shift in the state.
For ourselves and for the child.
As well for ourselves and for the child. And secondly, what you're saying is because the awareness is at a slightly different level, I'm able to spot what's happening with me and my child, and hence able to choose my responses better.
Yeah, so because one of the parents, we had this workshop and Ashlesh was asking all the parents who could distinguish, which cry meant what. So like some parents said they couldn't make out, and some parents said, when he does, then I know he's seeking attention. And when he's saying, different kinds of sound, I know it is like he is not feeling well. Or I know when he is hungry, the cry is very different. So just they're able to make out the same thing, which is a cry, but different tonality, different way of how it is. They know what the child wants.
Correct.
They know when it's a nappy change. They know when it is things. So this is called, calibrating. This is about picking up through our senses.
Right.
Okay, because we pick up things. So sometimes children are not telling, okay, they're feeling sad, but they're not saying they're feeling sad.
So quite some years before
sometimes some parents may not be picking up, but what we say when they start, with their NLP skills, they say that what they used to not notice, now they notice. There's the shoulders probably gone a little down, or the skin color of the child has changed to a little darker shade. Or, the smile is like this, and this is slightly down, and they know their child is feeling something different. So that helps them to respond and ask, okay, so what's happening?
Right.
And this is not initially it may be the conscious, but over time what they say is that they just know, just picking, because their unconscious is picking up this, and that helps them in their parenting, because at the right time when the child is going through some change, needs some support, then they're able to be there.
Yeah, so and I suppose it could as well be applicable to fathers, right? I mean,
mothers and fathers, both parents.
Because
both parents.
Yeah, because I like, of course, there's a
Like
saying.
this crying thing was about actually a gentleman, a father who was saying that he could pick up. Yeah.
Wow. That means, even like modalities, calibrations, these things probably really help a parent understand the child so much better, right?
Yes, yes.
Awesome, because obviously we are not trying to challenge the notion that's there across the world that motherhood is like the most intimate way one can know another human being. And in fact, there's a saying, if because God couldn't be everywhere, He created mothers. But I'm sure all you mothers out there are still able to understand how, with the help of NLP, that can still, the whole aspect could be still taken a notch higher, simply
Yeah.
by increasing the awareness between yourselves and your child.
Yeah, it's just to another level, right?
Another level, yeah. Any other incident where something specific that the parent has done, is able to do differently, and it's changed the dynamic with the child?
Uh, yeah, I don't know if I shared it in my previous video about the parent and the daughter that used to come together to Ashlesh for coaching.
No, no.
Not too sure.
No, you haven't.
This was a young teenager,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and she was into sports, and the mother was also, coming with her. Both used to come for coaching with Ashlesh,
Okay.
and mother is very prim and proper, like well dressed. For
Mm.
her, looking good is very important.
Ah.
Okay, so from an NLP, we say usually when people are, they prefer mode of thinking is visual. They
Mm.
also like to look good and things like that. That's very important.
Right.
Okay, and the daughter would come with a loose t-shirt. Sometimes it's like kind of, tone and things like that, and just walk, thing. And she won't really like dressing too well. So
Okay.
one day, she spoke to Ashlesh and she said,
She
uh,
is the mother
the
of.
mother. The mother spoke to Ashlesh and said, "See, my daughter and me have a very good relationship,
Okay.
but I feel something is missing. I'm not sure what."
Ah. Okay.
And then Ashlesh was talking to her, and then she got aware that okay, the thing is she's more visual, so she loves dressing well.
Hmm.
Daughter is more kinesthetic. She's into sports.
Okay.
Yeah, and she likes the feel of it.
Right.
And as they were talking, what also opened up, Ashlesh just shared about that daughter thinks differently and mother, you think differently, and
Hmm.
so mother realized that she would buy clothes for her daughter
Hmm.
and nice clothes, and guess where it would be? It would be right down in her cupboard.
Oh my
So
God.
keep down all new nice ones there and wear her usual old t-shirts and things
Oh,
like that.
the
And that,
comfy ones.
yeah, comfy ones, and she would never know why and things like that.
Hmm.
But she also felt there was a disconnect. So and mother was the daughter responded to kinesthetic touch. So she loved hugs, she loved a pat, things like that. And the mother being visual, they usually like a little bit of space. When someone is more visual, they like space and they're not so used to physical touch. So when she was talking to Ashley, she said, "I don't like all these touchy feeling things." And then Ashley tried to, explain to her, but your daughter understands that word,
Hmm.
the word of touch. And he left it to that and they went away.
Hmm.
And then, next time, after a few times when we saw they both came hand in. Before, the mother used to come first in front, and then the daughter used to come.
Okay.
Okay, when they used to walk into the office,
Oh.
and now we saw that both would hold hands and and come together. Okay, and now the young daughter was dressing also well. Okay, so then I think Ashlesh asked one day, what really happened, and then mother said, when I say she is the mother said that I realized my daughter understands a different world, so I started giving a hug and high five, and in the night every day tucking her in and spending some time with her physically.
Right.
And that whatever disconnect she was feeling, that had gone, and they were feeling really close.
Hmm.
And she didn't do anything about dressing well and all. Naturally, the daughter started doing that.
Yeah. And that's
Okay.
so beautiful because the ripple effect, right?
Yeah. So it's so beautiful. They both started understanding each other's world, and the relationship was always good, but it went to a deeper level.
Yeah.
Just the very fact that they're holding hands and coming. So this is how, so beautiful. The whole parenting experience becomes very different.
Yes.
You know,
So when the parent decides to or chooses to move out of just their space, their map of the world in NLP terms, and maybe tries to adapt or accept or accommodate the child's map of the world, and the child can begin responding to the parent exactly the way just telling it would be so counterproductive, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So, any specific? Let us say, if I were to ask you, can you tell me using NLP, what would be three techniques? Okay, like any
Okay.
three techniques that you feel like, uh, sans all stages, will hold them in good stead as parents. What would your
For the parent or for the child?
parents?
Okay. One thing, I don't know about the technique or what, but there's different things that about NLP I could probably say.
Yeah. Yes.
One is like we say rapport, right? Building rapport, connecting.
Yeah.
Okay, so when it's rapport, it's about actually getting up our world and also finding out, where the other person is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a dance.
Yes.
You're dancing, when you're dancing and you're in sync, you actually, there's a wonderful dance together, right?
Yeah.
So creating rapport is something like that. And even if we don't do anything, but the way we look at the other person, okay, influences the kind of rapport we create.
Right.
Okay, now, like, the way I look at you, the map I have about you,
Yes.
I have deep respect for you and I look at you as a powerful person. Okay, that will create that whole conversation, right?
Yes.
Same thing with the parent and child. When the parent sees their child, in a way that's really, really beautiful and, wonderful, irrespective of whatever the behaviors are or not, because the behavior does not define the person, right?
Yes.
So what happens, that creates the whole dynamics and the relationship. The way they would communicate would change, the words they would use, even if they're wanting to, like if a child hits somebody and they want to address it, the way they will talk will be different when they believe in their child.
Correct.
And they know that there is goodness and there is, there's a lot in my child, a potential, and and the way they would communicate is in a way that the child will be able to receive that.
Understood. So the first thing is rapport, and the second thing?
The other thing is emotional state, like we always say, right? Managing our emotions, like we were talking sometime.
Yes.
Okay, I think the key factor in anything, whether it's parenting or any other thing, is like to access like really, really good states.
Yeah.
Okay, for ourselves and parents helping children access those states.
Yes.
Okay, so that could be like sometimes you can use your body, your physiology. Just now we both kind of made ourselves a little right?
Yeah.
Did you feel any shift in the way you felt as soon as
Yes. It's like automatically I was like, yeah, we both are doing this. I realized that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, even your voice is sounding different, right?
Yes.
So just like that, I just realized I improved my way I'm using my voice, and I'm already feeling a little more excited.
Right.
Yeah, so it's simple things that we just change our voice tone and we'll feel different.
Yes.
Okay, and we move our body in a way that when we stretch or we look up, and then we feel a lot more better.
Yeah.
It could be just a breathing, that we breathe deeply,
right,
and feel differently. Okay, it could be using the environment, like we put up pictures that we love around in our house and homes, or even on on laptops and things. Okay, so when we see it, unconsciously it's influencing us.
Correct.
Yeah, like people have some like plants and they decorate their homes beautifully. The other thing is using music. Yeah, music is one beautiful changer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So all of us do have challenges. I guess even during this time COVID situation, when you are dealing with different challenges, so we can use the environment. You play music. So when parents play music for themselves and for and children also, then the whole environment can change. The emotion can change.
True.
Okay? In that, same communication about some topics can be something that is very easy to do.
Yeah, true that. Yeah. So, emotion state, because parents are generally either like overprotective as an emotion, worry as an emotion, anger as an emotion, authority or authoritativeness in their way of being state. So this is a departure, you're because you're saying happy things. So I think even if the parents just decide to be happy, look at things from a positive thing, using all that you have shared, that itself could create that.
Yeah, because sometimes I think what happens with parents, from what I've observed, is that as parents, one feels that if one is being strict, I have to look like this.
Yeah.
I'm.
Yes.
I can't smile if I'm being strict.
Right.
I can't be firm when I'm being strict. What is so we probably have fixed ways of states. Okay,
Correct.
but what if we can be firm and happy, or we can be firm and smiling?
Yeah.
We can smile and still we can be firm.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are states that when we say emotions, smiling is not a state, but when we smile, then we being different.
Right.
So it doesn't mean like I can't be firm. I can be firm, but I can also be relaxed and calm and be firm.
Yeah. Because while you were talking, what immediately came to my mind was, say a parent saying a statement like, "Okay, you're grounded," or "No TV for 2 days." So they have this particular tone that they reserve to say this, right? Whereas I realize that the impact could be maybe equally there or more powerful, even if they were to say it in a pleasant way. Where nobody, you're grounded.
You're grounded means you're grounded, but that doesn't mean I'm angry about it.
Correct.
But you're grounded.
Yeah.
So this happened, you're grounded, and that's it.
And it's like a very matter of fact. It becomes, and very strangely, that's exactly what parents anyway seem to aspire. See, they want to make things matter of fact, where they want the child to take the message that, okay, you did this, and now so this is the outcome.
Okay, so if it's something that's not useful, they want to establish something that's not useful, right?
Yes. But then I think that whole building of the context suddenly seems a little unnecessary, at least to me. Where yes, they can very well be pleasant about it, positive about it, and then still say, okay, this has to be this way. Sure. And what's the third thing you would like to share to our parents?
If you say third thing, okay. So of course there's a lot of things, but I can say who we want to be or who a parent wants to be.
Big one.
What do they really want as a role, as a role as a mother or father? Who do they want to be? Who, one can be a nurturer or one can be a discipliner.
Yeah.
So one could be, it can be loving and nurturing, or it could be, who I want to be is very important in the relationship.
Can be a combination of both. I said, can somebody can choose to be a nurturing discipliner. And
I think our internet, something's happened.
For a split second. So that's okay.
And it's frozen.
No, now we are back.
Yeah, we are back. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, who we want to be or who a parent wants to be in that relationship, and who the child is for them.
Right.
How do they look at their child? Okay, the whole thing would the whole dynamics will be very, very different.
Correct. So
what do they really, really want for the child? What do they really want for themselves as a parent, and what do they want for their child?
Yes, that makes so much of sense. And the reason, and you must forgive me for that, the reason why I kind of stress and ask, okay, what is it about NLP? Because to me, why NLP is such a powerful space to operate from is because, it believes that you have all the resources you need within yourselves.
Yes.
And sometimes I get asked, what's with you and NLP? And, you've gone mad and you think everything is about NLP. And I'm like, guys, everything is about NLP, and it's not about NLP. It's about you. It's really about.
The NLP is just it's like any other subject. It's just that it helps us to understand ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm sure even psychology, hypnotherapy, all other things also help people to understand themselves, and I'm sure they also have powerful tools.
Yes.
But of course I don't know much about those as much as I know about in NLP. But I do know that NLP is nothing but a study of ourselves and how our mind works, and it gives us an access to be able to actually change anything that we want.
Yeah.
And yeah,
So NLP is like from
educate.
and that's to me the most powerful thing, because if it can start from you, it can start with you, and then once that happens, the rest somehow falls in place. Or that's how my experience of this subject has been. So I think even in Ashlesh's, when I was talking to Ashlesh, and even with you, can't help it, viewers, we will give a slightly biased view from NLP point of view. But yeah, so hope the parents got something today to chew on, munch on, and tomorrow will be a different day in parenting. So thank you so much for doing this, Monica. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anita.
In-
It's really a wonderful talk, actually.
Yes, likewise. So sorry to interrupt you, but what I really wanted to share is because, see, it's my channel, guys, right? So obviously, I'll be particular about what am I putting and stuff like that. But let me tell you something that you won't know otherwise. We had actually recorded this episode already, but Monica was like, so somewhere something doesn't seem to be fine. And the commitment that she showed and the grace that she has shown in ensuring that we give it another go is something I really am filled with gratitude for. So thank you so much for your time, Monica. Really.
Thank you so much, Anita. Yeah.
Okay, on that note, you parents, if you want to attend NLP even while you're expecting, well, you have found out it's not a bad idea. And at any age, if you wish to increase your awareness about yourself and about how to be like a class A parent, then yes, although there is nothing like a class B parent, don't worry. I think just to watch these videos, spread the word, and get in touch with any of us, and we'll be happy to help you further. So thank you, Monica, and I'll see you back with something more exciting.
Yeah, see you, Anita.
Yes, and you guys, Slate with Anita. I'll see you next Saturday without fail. You don't go anywhere. Bye.